This is everything in my tackle box after 2 years of fishing. So just for some context, I started fishing around 2 years ago, a little less than 2 years, and I didn't have a lot of experience, obviously. I had not grown up fishing, didn't know a lot of people that were into bass fishing, so I really just watched a lot of YouTube and fished like every chance I could get. And from that experience, I've been able to catch a 5-pounder and almost 6-pounder in the past 2 years. So I love making content and helping other beginning anglers start their fishing journey and hopefully catch some big bass pretty quick too. So let's get started with the backpack. So this is a backpack, just a regular backpack. There's a lot of crazy, crazy over $100 backpacks that are like specifically designed for fishing. You don't really need those, especially if you're starting out. There's no reason that you need to spend that much money on something that you might not even use all the functionality that it comes with. So just a basic backpack like this. I think I got this from Walmart a really long time ago. It's been working fine ever since. The main pocket I use is this big one right here. This back one I use for some cameras and filming gear whenever I film fishing videos. So let's get into this one right here. And the first thing I'm going to be talking about is the tackle box, and make sure to stick around until the end of the video because I'm going to be giving away a couple of baits. So if you want to enter the giveaway, stick around to the end of the video and I will explain all the details and how that's going to work. But starting off with this tackle box, this is, I believe, a 3700 size tackle box, a Plano tackle box. These are kind of expensive online. They cost around 10 bucks, but if you get them in store, I think Walmart sells them for like $2 or $3. So they're really not bad, especially if you find them in store. And it's really nice because it just slides right in and out of your backpack, holds a decent amount of lures. You don't have to get one of those old, big tackle boxes to lug around. You can just throw this in your backpack. Makes it really easy to open and shut. And so it's just kind of what works well for me. They do sell waterproof ones, these, but I don't find any reason that I need those, at least starting out. So I'm just going to take this kind of compartment by compartment. We're going to go through and see what we have here. So first of all, we have our terminal tackle on the top here. I'm going to start here and kind of move along. So first thing we've got is a 4/0 extra wide gap hook. This is for your larger soft plastics and creature baits. And then the hook, one of my favorite hooks of all time, is the 3/0 extra wide gap hook. Works for most soft plastics. If you just want to buy one hook, buy the 3/0 extra wide gap hook. It's a great hook. It'll work with tons of different lures, tons of different techniques. And then I also have some 3/0, I believe 3/0 just regular wide gap hooks. Don't need those as much, but they're good to have. And then over here in the corner, I have two types of weights. I have a 1/4 ounce weight, and I also have some 1/8 ounce weights. Now I would recommend mostly just the smaller size here, the 1/8 ounce weights, because most of the time you don't really need that big of a weight, especially if you're just getting into fishing, doing a lot of pond fishing, doing a lot of bank fishing. This is going to be all you need. These are lead weights. Sometimes these 1/4 ounce weights can be just a tad too heavy, so I'd recommend starting out with the 1/8 ounce weights if you just want to buy one. And then the last hook that I have in this box that I carry with me in my tackle box pretty much all the time, that's also a great hook, is the 1/0 octopus hook. And I use this for wacky rigs mostly, but it's also great for drop shots and other types of rigs, but mostly wacky rigs. This is a great hook, so I definitely recommend getting a couple of those. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start over here, this side, and just kind of swing around here. So starting off with the spinner baits. Now I've got two spinner baits here. I think this is a Booyah spinner bait from Walmart. Pretty simple, very light spinner bait. And then I also have one here that doesn't look quite like a regular spinner bait, but I lost the skirt, so I just threw on a swim bait. But it's good to have a decent spinner bait in your tackle box. Maybe white, maybe chartreuse. Those are some good colors for your spinner baits. And moving on to my the next compartment of the tackle box, which is my favorite lure pretty much of all time, at least as of yet, and that is the frogs. So I've got a couple frogs here. So I've got the regular popping perch by Strike King, but I've also got now the I'm not sure what they call this one, it's the walking version, but I've got both of those in black, and then I also have a regular sized Booyah pad crasher, or whatever they call this walking frog, more of a natural frog color. So a couple frogs because I really like my frogs. Those obviously are not going to be great for just starting out. You want to have a decent rod with braided line to be able to throw those, but those are some of the most fun catches you'll ever have, catching them on frogs. The next compartment we have here is the chatterbaits, and I've got two here. Not necessarily the colors I would recommend. I would recommend getting a black and blue chatterbait, which I have here, and I would really recommend getting a green pumpkin one of these, or maybe a white chatterbait. Those are some better colors, but red can also work sometimes too. So those are the chatterbaits I've got. This is one of my first confidence baits. Just a great bait to have, really easy to throw, similar to the spinnerbait. And then the next compartment over here, I have my jigs. Now I've got a little bit of a pile of jigs here, and I don't actually use jigs as much as you might think by how many. I had some of these were given to me, so I have a couple extra ones, but just some basic kind of natural colored jigs. But jigs are good to have. I really have not caught a lot of fish on jigs, but I'd like to start trying them out more, especially fishing under docks and things like that. I know jigs can be pretty nice because they don't ever get messed up like your regular Texas rig soft plastics. You just keep on catching fish, which, you know, I don't have a problem doing. And then the next compartment over here, we have my treble hook lures. This is a little bit different than the last tackle box video I made because I have my top waters and my crankbaits combined, but I actually lost my 3D printed whopper plopper, so I normally would have a decent sized whopper plopper to go along with this popper that I have here. And those are some great topwater baits, really easy to throw. You can throw them on a spinning rod because they're not that heavy, so they work really well as beginner topwater. So I definitely recommend a small popper and a whopper plopper. And I'm linking all these lures down in the description if you want to check them out and buy some online. And then here, lastly, I've got my crankbaits. So I've got two lipless crankbaits. I've got this one Guggen Squad lipless crankbait, kind of in a red color, that was given to me, as well as another, I don't remember, I think this might be a Rapala, but a more natural colored lipless crankbait. And those are great crankbaits to start out with, some lighter lipless crankbaits. That way you can still get to a little bit deeper. And then here I have a Strike King, I think 1.5, a square bill crankbait in that kind of chartreuse color. This is going to be great for, you know, the shallower ponds because it doesn't dive very deep. Just make sure to keep it away from trees and algae and stuff like that, because all these lures with treble hooks will get really caught up in that stuff. And then in this compartment here, I just have basically a bunch of soft plastics. So whenever I use a soft plastic, I will rig it up, use it. If I want to change my lure, I don't just throw it away. I'll just unrig it and then throw it in this soft plastics thing. So as you can see, I've got a decent number of soft plastics in here waiting to be used, but I'll at least keep them for a while. That way I can potentially reuse them at some point in the future. And then moving up, we've got one of the most fun lures to catch a fish on, and that is the mag draft. Big swim baits in general are a lot of fun. I've only caught one fish on this. Recently I had a chance to almost catch a new personal best. Really clear water. I saw him eat it. I set the hook and my drag was not tight, so I lost that fish, but just a super fun experience. So I've gained a little bit of confidence in the mag draft, seeing that massive fish go after it. So if you want a chance to catch a big fish, I would definitely try a soft swim bait out first, like a 6-inch mag draft. And I have here the freestyle version, so you want to buy a big beast hook like this one and put that on there, and it's going to be weedless as opposed to your regular mag draft. This is the freestyle. So if you're fishing ponds with a bunch of weeds, that's the mag draft you should probably choose. And then this compartment over here, I've got some of my top waters, my less used top waters. So we've got here a black buzzbait. And so this thing, I've literally never caught a fish on it yet, but I have it just in case. I know buzzbaits, some people really like their buzzbaits. And then this lure, which I probably still don't need to leave in here, is a large walking bait. I bought this because I saw people fishing with these and I saw massive blowups and I was like, man, that looks like really fun. So I'd love to do that. So I bought one and I still have not caught a fish on it yet. So probably not a lure I need in a pond fishing tackle box, but it's still a good lure to have potentially in the future. So hopefully I can catch some lures on those fish. Hopefully I can catch some fish on those lures down the road. And then last but not least, I have this compartment up here, which is a little swim bait, some little jig heads that I bought for little swim baits because I have not tried that out yet. Still haven't caught a fish on these yet, or maybe one fish. I believe I've caught one fish on these yet, but just a little jig head with a little rage swimmer on the back. So I wanted to give that a try. And then in case you were wondering, the last compartment just has a case packet with one hook in it that I randomly have in there. So that concludes my tackle box. Some of these lures you may not need to have in a tackle box, but these are ones that I found are nice to have when you're fishing a new pond, or just, you know, to have a good variety in lures. But you don't want to just be using a bunch of hard baits and jigs and top waters. You need to also have a good variety of soft plastics, and that is what we're going to be talking about next. So I'm going to put this tackle box away, and we are going to get out my tackle bag in the tackle bag. So right here, I have got my tackle. It's almost like a folder for your soft plastics, and it's not really necessary to have. Again, I've talked about it before. It's kind of handy. It just depends what you want. If you want to have all your soft plastics in one place, easily accessible, that's nice. If you want to be able to take individual packs with you, like leave your backpack somewhere and just take a couple extra in case you lose one, this might not be the option for you because then you won't have the individual bags. But if you want to do this, it's a great option. If you don't want to do it, then grab yourself a big Ziploc bag and just throw your packs into there. So I'm just going to quickly go through a couple of lures that I would definitely recommend to anyone that's somewhat new to fishing. So first is this. I only have a couple left, but it's a Zoom trick worm in just a regular green pumpkin color. A great finesse lure. You can put it on a drop shot. You can even Texas rig it, but there's different ways to use this worm. Definitely recommend it for beginners and even for more advanced fishermen. The next is the Senko, and I think here I have the Strike King Senkos, but I'd also recommend the Gary Yamamoto Senkos, and there's different brands that can also work. But I have a natural green pumpkin, and then also I have the black and blue, so more natural, and then a little bit more standout type of colors. Great lure to have for Texas rigs, for wacky rigs, whatever. Those are the 5-inch version. Got some lizards, don't use those a whole lot. Got some other miscellaneous lures. And then right here, I've got my flukes. I definitely recommend you pick up at least one pack. If you do just one pack, I would get some sort of white color of these flukes. Great lure for ponds, for shallower fishing. And then if you want to get a second one, I also like this baby bass color. That is great for imitating little bait fish and little bass and that sort of thing. And then the last lure that I would highly recommend is the Rage Craw. And I've got two colors. Again, I've got your more natural green color, and I've got a kind of dark blue color, black and blue color. And those are great for being Texas rigged. I actually caught one of my first personal best bass, a 3.5 pounder. I thought that was amazing. I caught it on a Texas rigged green pumpkin Rage Craw. So that was a super fun experience. I have a lot of confidence in these craws. And then I'll just throw it in here. I have some Rage Menaces as well, kind of for trailers on chatterbaits. If you have a big enough one, it can be Texas rigged, but mostly just to go on the back of your jigs and your chatterbaits. So that concludes the tackle bag. And now, before you go out and fish, you need to have some tools. Some other things that you need that you really don't want to go to the water without. And the first one of those things being line cutter, and that's really necessary, especially if you're working with a braid. If you're using monofilament or fluorocarbon, you may be able to get away with biting it, but with braid, you're not biting through braid. So here I've got some professional line cutters. Actually, what I have here is a pair of Gerber multi-tool, and so it has a little pair of scissors. Works great for braid, works well for monofilament and fluorocarbon. It's got some sharp blades on it, so that works really well for me. And then the second thing that you need is some pliers. I guess not completely necessary, but very, very helpful to get hooks that fish have swallowed or just too hard for you to reach. Or if you've got a bass that's really floppy and you've got treble hooks, you want to be careful you don't want to get hooked, so you can use pliers to be a little bit more safe. So this is a great option just to get some sort of line cutter, some sort of pliers. You could get a multi-tool, whatever works best for you, whatever you already have. And then something else that you don't technically need but is very nice to have is a fish scale. So here I've got my scale. This is a digital one, and you just turn it on, let it like 0, and then you can hook this in the basses through their gills if you want. But if it comes with one of these clamps, they're really handy. You just put them on there and then clamp this thing to the fish's mouth and then let the bass go, and you can see how heavy they are. They're nice to just kind of have an idea of how big your bass are. There are other types of scales out there, like ones with just a dial that doesn't actually have a screen. So I wouldn't recommend those because they're very not precise. They don't really help you get a good idea of how big your bass is. So I definitely recommend one of the digital scales if you're going to get one. And then while I'm at it, I might as well show you the rods that I use to throw these lures real quick. So the first rod I would get as a beginner is a medium power spinning rod. So this is a Berkeley Shock lightning rod. It works pretty well. I shouldn't have got a medium heavy, but I did get a medium heavy, so it's not great for throwing the really light lures. But yeah, I definitely recommend a medium power so you can throw those lighter lures easier. And then I've got a nice loose speed spin reel on there. So just a decent combo here for throwing those wacky rigs, those weighted weightless soft plastics, drop shots, things like that. Those things that are a little bit lighter, those are going to be great to be throwing on your spinning rod. Now, once you've got your spinning rod, so you can throw some of those lighter lures, if you're wanting to get a bait caster, I would recommend getting a medium heavy rod, and then you can get just your average bait cast reel. It doesn't have to be anything crazy expensive. I have here a Spartacus 2. I like the blue, so I got it. And then this rod is a Crixus rod. I wouldn't actually recommend this one. It's not been super great for me, but I'll link a good rod down there in the description and this reel. But I like the low profile ones just for starting out. It's nice you're not carrying this big hunk of metal, just nice and small to fit in your hand. And yeah, so this is great for throwing your chatterbaits, your weighted soft plastics, things like that, your lipless crankbaits, all these sort of things that are a little bit heavier, that are not going to be quite as easy to throw on your spinning rod are going to be great here. You can even throw frogs if you want to, but if you really want to get into some slightly bigger stuff and have a lot of fun, this is my third rod that I recently bought, and this is a combo that I bought that's made by Handing, and it is a 7'3". I forgot to mention the lengths of these. This one is a 7 foot. This one is also 7 foot. So just a little bit longer to get that longer casting distance. And then this one is a 7'3" heavy rod. And so I have 40 or 50 pound braid on here. And I use this to throw really big jigs, big swim baits, frogs, that sort of thing. Mostly frogs is what I wanted this for. So if you want a third rod and you already have two rods similar to that, I would definitely get this one next so you can fish those frogs and things like that, bigger swim baits. So that is everything in my tackle box after 2 years of fishing. And now I'm going to explain the giveaway that I'm doing really quickly. So if you want to win these 3 soft plastics, I've got a curly tail, I've got a sinker stick, and some swim baits. All 3 of these I'm going to be giving away to one person that likes this video, comments their personal best bass, and subscribes if they're not already subscribed. And in about 1 week, I will be replying to one of the comments and asking you to email me, and then I will give you my email and you'll email me, and I will get your address from you so I can ship these out to you. You make sure you actually give me your email, or else I have no way to contact you and I'll have to pick another winner. So if you do enter to win these soft plastics, make sure you are checking that to see if you did win, and email me if you are the winner. So that'll be about 1 week. Like, comment, subscribe, and comment your personal best bass. And if you want to see the last video I did about what my tackle box looked like after 1 year of fishing, click right up there, and I will see y'all in the next one.